Okay, so some real talk about mental health and taking things easy and giving grace within the workplace and within ourselves with our mental health. And I think that that is all very, really important, and I'm a strong advocate for it. But one thing that I've noticed within myself, but also within other people, it's becoming, as the conversation around mental health in the workplace and understanding our needs emotionally and cognitively, I guess, there's been a lot that comes up of, well, maybe it's the mental health. Maybe they had a panic attack. Maybe they, for me, I have OCD and I will full on shut down. I will shut down and I just won't leave the house. That's not something that needs to be leaned into. I know that sounds super shitty, and it doesn't sound like I'm giving myself grace or even other people who might struggle with this, but it's true. It is not a reason to stop doing things. In fact, leaning into that especially for me, and I'm talking about me in this case, and I'm talking about my inability to get out of bed. That's crap. I can get out of bed. I can get out of my house. I need to have the tools in place and ask myself mental questions. I need to have a process in place, and that includes questions for me that get me going. But leaning into it, trusting that I just need to give myself grace or a day. Here's the truth. If I get to a point where I can't leave the house, or I feel like that, where I am having an episode, as I now call them because I know what they are, when that happens, it's usually because I stopped doing multiple other things along the way, and that's my body's final way, or my brain's way, or my hormones, I don't know, whatever all the science is inside of my body. When it gets to the point where I don't want to leave the house, I want to hermit. I like to call it my depression dungeon. That's usually a pretty good indication that I've neglected my well-being. And we use the word self-care, and I'll use that word because it's a hot word, but the true self-care: therapy, meds every day, vitamins, eating properly, staying hydrated. Holy crap, this one throws me off like you wouldn't fucking believe. And not getting too much sleep. Not getting enough sleep, but not getting too much sleep. And going out, seeing people, getting out of the house on a consistent basis for things outside of just work, making sure that I have events planned, not necessarily planned because those give me anxiety, but knowing that I will be doing things outside of the house that are not work related. Those are all important, and I will tell you right now, I don't want to do those things. All of those well-being things, including the socialization. God, fuck, especially the socialization. I don't want to do it. I want to stay home. I want to hermit. I want to be left alone. I want to be left to my thoughts, because if I'm left to my thoughts, then nobody can tell me that the little OCD gremlin is lying and wrong. But ultimately, it really just comes down to not leaning in, asking myself, what's the next right thing? And unfortunately, that's the hardest place to come back from. If I've gotten all the way to the depression dungeon, coming out of it is going to be so much harder. And I wish that I could tell you that I have it figured out. I don't fucking have it figured out. I mean, the last 4 years, I've probably had an episode 3 times a year. That's debilitating, for the record. That's too many. In the past, it's usually been about 1 a year in my adult life. But what I've done in the dialogue of today, of giving yourself grace, of understanding mental health more, I've gone too far. And that's not me saying that today I'm too far and I'm starting over. That's me coming out of several months of working through this and dealing with a lot of change and trying to not be debilitated by it. Trying to get out of the house, trying to make sure that I show up for work, showing up for work, showing up for myself. One of the things that I really hate about myself is I will say I do something or I'm going to do something, and then the little gremlin in the back of my brain, who is me, I'm not saying that it's not me, it's 100% me, and it's the loud voice in me, the predominant voice these days, she can derail me, and I'm just not letting that happen anymore.